hi, this is Ray here. This is day 3 of the league, essentially, or rather end of day 3. So I want to briefly show you where the build has gone so far. I don't think there's much else I can do, maybe a bit of improvements to damage. Probably can double damage, I think, by the time I hit a week in, if I'm still scaling the build. But I think the EHP and tankiness is where I want it to be. I might need, as the buck was, to really be super tanky. But until I get there, this is kind of the performance for now. This build has certain downsides per se. You have to be aware of it, so I'll let you know now. And downsides are heavily to do with the fact that your damage is mostly coming from a proc, right? You must proc your totem hits in order for you to do damage, which kind of means that if you're not getting your totem hit, you're not doing damage. So that being said, let's go. I'm gonna treat this like normal mapping, so I'm gonna actually like click everything rather than run past them. So pardon me if this is too long for you. You see that delay damage over there? So this plays like EA Totems but worse. Mainly because EA Totems has a similar thing where you drop the totems, then the totems got then it shoots out the EAs, then the EAs explode, then you have ignite. This is kind of like that, except that you're kind of expecting them, you're kind of waiting on the mobs to do stuff. So if the mobs don't actually do anything, you don't do damage. So that's the downside of this build. Of course there are ways around it. I am thinking about a situation where I find I have another skill that can scale damage that doesn't require me to like what's the term for it? Like maybe a hit based totem build that I can use for clear. But I haven't actually got around to doing that yet. So my clear is like, it's okay. Most of the time it can get faster, so it's really dependent on playstyle. If I'm concentrating, it's easier because I'm actually just moving around most of the time and just dropping totems, and I'll only like backtrack if I see item drops. My filter is set to only things that make me money, so I can chill. I'm doing essences as well. Okay, now I can sleep. Come on, hit this. That was a little tanky boy, and unfortunately he attacks really slowly. He attacks really slowly. Not much else I can do. What's that? Okay, for the moment of truth, the Minotaur. Maybe I'll die, I don't know. Oh wow. Why does he have to be? Why does he have to be commented? As you can see, it doesn't matter. He just dies. I mean, he's great at Minotaur, does have multi-hit spells, so you know the totem's gonna get hit and it's gonna prop. So generally the clunkiness around his build is mainly this. Because you have to have the totems get hit in order to like do damage. There are two ways. When you're going through maps, you're running through maps. It's a bit of a pain, mainly because when you're running through maps, your playstyle is just generally I drop totem, I leap slam, I dash, and then the totem will kill behind you. and your Explode and your Herald Ash and all that will clear for you. But on bosses, what happens is that you actually have to watch what the boss is doing. So the boss is like, if the boss has spells, but they don't use the spells unless you're further away. So let's say the boss is here, and then it starts casting like multi-hit spells. You don't want to stand in front of the boss because you're basically not gonna have anything hit the area around you, and then the totems won't proc anything. Minotaur is generally okay because he does have avalanche skill that drops rocks on you, and those proc totems like crazy. So I can kind of luck out just by standing on him and just dropping totems continuously and letting them naturally proc. But most of the times, when it comes to bosses, you have to look at what spells they use. So if they use like a huge AoE spell, you're just like, I'm going to stand in that and just drop like 4 totems. And when they proc, I just resummon them again and wait for the next one. You have to, it's weird to say this, but you have to actually see what the boss is doing. If the boss is doing something, you have to vary it up. If the boss is like manually attacking, you're like, okay, I'm too close to it. It's just swinging at me and not hitting any totems. So yeah. But if you can get it to proc, the damage is good. So DPS, top end DPS on this is like 28 and 30 mil. Problem is you have the reliability factor of it. So I would say it's closer to maybe 12 to 15, about half. Because you're not able to consistently proc it, right? If you're able to consistently proc it, it's definitely 30 mil, but you're not able to consistently proc it, and you're gonna misplay it. So like, for example, if you summon this and they get hit and they proc, and you forget to resummon them, their cooldown is 5 seconds. You have to resummon them again, replace the old ones, and then the new ones will proc a new set of like Flamewood, whatever. That projectile artillery nuke shit. Okay, let's talk about the items that or rather the upgrades I made. So far this build has cost me maybe about the day before it was like 3 divs, right? 3 or 4 divs. Like, okay, day 2 was 3 or 4 divs. Now it is probably 10 to 15. Probably close to 13. I would say 13 divs is a good estimate. No, wait, shit, it's not 13, it's more than that. It's 15, 16 actually. Although I'll be frank, some of the items I bought, I pretty much sniped off the market. I don't think you'll be able to find them again for that price. There are definitely ways to address tankiness outside of the solutions that I've derived for myself. But all the solutions I derive for myself are based off the prices I see on the market, right? So if I see a certain combination super cheap, I'm going to go for that. It may not exist for you anymore because the market changes. But what happened was that I was tracking like forbidden jewels. On Marauder, especially forbidden jewels are really important because you can find really interesting jewels. Aspect Carnage was too expensive. It was insanely expensive at least. I think everyone's going for damage early. So it was like already 10 to 15, 20 divs plus for the whole combination. And I was like, I'm priced out of it. But then I saw Unbreakable. And Unbreakable was like, well, this one was 1 div. And I was like, how can this be 1 div? Unbreakable was like one of the best Marauder passives. So I bought this one for 1 div. And I was just waiting for that one to drop in price. The other one. And while this one dropped, I bought this one for 1 div and was waiting for this one to drop, this shot up to 10 or 15 or some shit. It was ridiculous, right? Because the markets are really liquid at the start of the league, and there's not a lot of supply. So if you buy out the market, it just basically shoots up. Just letting you know, that's what happens. And I waited, and I saw this for like 5 divs, and I always haggle. I waited and said, can I get this for 4? And he said, sure. And I got this for 4. So in total, this cost me like 5 divs. Now, if you were to probably buy this combination of jewels, 20 divs maybe plus. So yeah, timing is everything, and figuring out what works for you is everything. And so once I got this Unbreakable jewels, I started the pivot, right? So originally I was going to Cloak of Flame. Cloak of Flame is like really, really good. But when you have Unbreakable, you really want something that has a decent amount of armor on the chest. And yeah, Lightning Coil is a replacement here for that. Of course, you're weaker to Fizz Dot, but how many Fizz Dots are there right now that you have trouble with? I don't think there's that many. So personally, I think this was fine. So what I did here is I went for the Lightning Coil, and there's a tech you may or may not be aware of, which is when you have Unbreakable and Lightning Coil, there's a way to take that evasion rating and turn that into armor. So because I'm already pathing down here to Iron Reflexes, I'll just grab it. I just grab it, right? And Iron Reflexes, what it does is it takes the 900 evasion rating here and just basically smashes it in the armor. So this is a 1.8k armor chest, a pretty chunky chest, right? And then Unbreakable doubles it. So 1.8k times 2, that is a 3.6k armor chest, right? That's like double the amount of a granite flask. So with that, my armor basically shot up from all the way from 14 or 12 to 14k base to about 29k. And then with flask up, it goes up to like, you know, it goes up to insane values, yeah. So it goes up to 50k plus armor. And then Unbreakable also gives me elemental damage hits, but you know 10% of your armor you mitigates it, right? And then I also went this, so 10% of armor also applies to chaos damage taken from hits. So in total, about 8% of LE and 10% of chaos is protected by my armor. Unfortunately, right now my LE is a bit, my chaos res is a little undercapped. I need to find a way to get it on my gear. But once I fix that, this will effectively have about 200k EHP or something. And then the next phase is to get Dorianis, so to get a not Dorianis, to get a Zibakwa, a Glorious Vanity Zibakwa here. And what that will do is basically like mitigate any form of pen. So any monster pen is going to be mitigated by halving the total amount of damage. The total amount of damage that gets halved gets further reduced by armor from two sources, right? Or from the chaos and the elemental. So that is probably like my next goal, to get the Zabakwas. I have an eye on one Zabakwa that I'm interested in, but I might want to wait for the price to drop a little. I don't think as I said, market's illiquid. There's only a few things that are available right now. Yeah, so with that pivot and change, I had to respec, take off some points, but all in all, this is what the build looks like. 5.6k life, 90 all res. Let me hit the flask. The flask. Oh. Okay, 89 all res. It only hits 90 all res once I get level 23 purity of fire. You wanna see me gamble this and somehow get 21? Okay, bad luck. Yikes. If this got 21, I'll have 90 all res, but right now it's at it's at 89, unfortunately, with a flask. I also bought a different shield. So the older shield I'm trying to sell for 1.5. I'm probably sure I should be able to sell for 1.5. But this one had 2 max res. It was 3 dips. This had 2 max res and pretty much a high life roll with res on the implicit. So this is really, really helpful. So I think this was definitely worth it for 3. And then yeah. Let me talk about the gear and what I've changed. I went Darkseer. So Darkseer is actually low-key super good for this build because you get +2 on the rejuve. Normally you get, most scepters or ones will give you +1 on the rejuve, and there's not much else you can do to scale it. But this gives you +2, so that's a lot more life. You know, rejuve at 26 means that you have 60% more life, which is effectively 60% more damage. You also have malediction, so enemies take increased damage, which you don't have any other sources of. I might have it when I go anathema and like sniper's mark, but for now I don't have a way to squeeze that in, and I really like my res on rings. So yeah, malediction's like super nice. The +2 to life to each level is insane. It's like at max level is going to be 200 flat life, and 200 flat life is like a really insane value. So my life kind of shot up with that. Maximum mana is just, you know, there's not much else you can add there. My ES is useless, so you know, yeah, that's cool. Helm I managed to get the Corel mod, so I slapped that on. I really need an Eldritch Icor. Do I have Icors? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know Icors right now. I've been throwing Icors at this, and I'm not getting a single one. I need a lesser Icor to give me like Fizz Taken or some other element. And obviously the Lightning Core, yeah. This one has double prefixes. I really wanted the extra damage from critical strikes. This was 40 chaos. Not many people are sniping double corrupted bases. This also had 6 socket already, so it was like really convenient. So I got this for that reason. And it had pretty decent high amount of armor and evasion rating. Chaos damage is gonna help when I have Zabakwas, but yeah, this cost me 40 chaos. And then maybe about 4 Vow Orbs to get it to falling here. I can drop a few like 2 tainted and hopefully get the 6, but that's only if I really want to find another skill that I can scale mapping damage off of rather than relying on the totems, on the rejuve totem. Yeah, other than that, not much has changed. It's mainly the chest, the weapon, and the shield. I'm not sure if I talked about this previously, but Legacy of Fury is really good. For 10 chaos, it's like 9 to 10 chaos right now. Effect of Scorch, and nearby enemy Scorch means you do more damage. So yeah, really nice. I'll drop the POB in the description, and you should be able to figure out stuff by yourself. But yeah, with 5 more points, I'm gonna go down here, get the Zabar Claws, and then I'll be uber tanky, and then maybe like optimize around gear for more damage, and that should be pretty much it. I can hit maybe about 50-60 mil DPS, I think, with this, which is double the amount I'm doing right now. And then still retain the tankiness, which should be around 240k EHP or 250k EHP with Molten Shell up. Alright, hope you enjoyed this. I'm gonna leave POB in the description. See you guys. Bye.